Right, Brad. Well, I spoke with Brittany Mackey, who says it had been 8 years since she last heard of anything involving the suspect. And this past weekend, she was shocked to hear the latest news of the most recent incident.
Paranoid. I just got comfortable. I just got comfortable walking out my house without feeling like I had to look over my shoulder.
The fear for her life, Mackey tells me, spiked all over again once she learned what happened to 27-year-old Laquana Lang.
I didn't go to sleep. I haven't been to sleep since I heard he was out. And Saturday, I had to find out from a Facebook post that it was him that was out.
Today we will be in Augusta, Georgia, which is located a little over 2 hours east of Atlanta. The city is the third largest in the state behind ATL and Columbus, and the population is around 200,000 people. In this nice-sized city, they definitely have their share of crime just like any other place. In the Laney Walker area of Augusta between Gordon Highway and New Savannah Road is the Allen Home Apartments where this story will unfold. At one of the units off the 500 block of Hines Street, a mother and her 2 young daughters called the place home. That mother was 27-year-old Laquana Lang, and her whole life was devoted to her young girls, and she loved to put smiles on their faces. But early in the morning hours one September day, something terrible took place inside their home that left the 2 girls in a bad situation for hours and their beloved mother unalive. In recent months, life appeared to be going good for 27-year-old Laquana. She just celebrated her 27th birthday on September 3rd, 2024, and just the day before announced she was in a new relationship. Her new man was 26-year-old Davante Parks, and he would be the first to take to social media a little before midnight and say, "Happy born day, my love. Big 27. Wish you plenty more. I'ma be right here with you through whatever. That's word, shawty." The pair were still in the dating honeymoon phase. Their love appeared to be evident to all who knew the couple. Laquana was said to be a young woman that stood on business in life and was not just friends with anybody. She learned and knew that in life people will hurt you and snake you, so she always stayed on alert for the fake people around her. However, that did not take away from the love she had to give to the people that had her best intentions at heart. As for Laquana's man Davante, he said and did all the right things to make her feel like a queen. Even though she did not speak a lot about her relationship on social media, it appeared that Laquana felt she had a man who looked out for her best interests at heart. She reached a stage in life where she no longer looked for looks but maturity, stability, loyalty, and peace. However, was Davante the right person for the young mother of 2? To give you some backstory of 26-year-old Davante Parks, he just recently got out of prison after doing a long bid for a horrifying crime. This article is from January 26, 2018. According to the Augusta Chronicles, a 20-year-old Augusta man who would spend most of the past 2 years in jail awaited trial for his role in a shooting that led to a tragic shootout pled guilty on Friday. Davante D. Parks, 20, pled in Richmond County Superior Court to aggravated and possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. Judge Shirley B. Jolly sentenced Parks to 12 years in prison, followed by 13 years of probation under the First Offenders Act. It all started with Davante's friend Marion Terry, 29, who was robbed on April 29, 2015. Marion thought another friend, Brittany McKee, set him up, and he and Davante went to her Jennings Place home on May 14, 2016, looking for revenge. Brittany was sitting on her front porch talking on the phone when Marion and Davante walked up to her and started shooting, according to the assistant district attorney. She was shot actually 6 times, not 5, and it was a miracle she survived. Paquan Clay and Bilal Givens, both 19, arrived on the scene shortly afterwards, and they pursued Marion and Davante and started shooting at them as they returned fire. Davante got away, but Marion was found unalive with a gunshot wound the next day on Cooney Circle. Now, after Davante was sentenced, he ended up getting out on parole early, serving 8 years of his 12-year sentence, which was supposed to be followed by 8 years of probation, plus 5 more years of probation for a weapons charge, consecutive to the sentence for the other charges.
This incident report from 2016 says deputies found a woman unresponsive, face down, and covered in blood in the doorway of a Richmond County home. She had been shot in the upper right arm, right thigh, left middle finger, and possibly her genitals. Parks pled guilty to aggravated and possession of a firearm. He went to jail in 2016 and 2 years later was sentenced to 25 years, the first 12 years in confinement and the rest on probation, with credit for 2 years already served. And this parole certificate shows he was granted early release 2 months ago after serving 8 of those 12 years.
So for 13 years after release, he had to do right and stay out the way. However, as most know, some people tend to fall back into old habits and the prison becomes a revolving door for them. Before Davante got out, he already had Laquana on his side, but it is not known if she knew he shot a woman in the past or not. Nonetheless, she seemed to be ready for him to get out. Davante goes by Champ Tay on Facebook, and Laquana wrote in May 2024, "Free Champ Tay, won't say too much." On July 16, 2024, Davante was released and moved in with Laquana and her girls, who were 2 and 5. The two had plans to be together for the long haul, but within less than 2 very short months, their future plans were shattered. Allegedly, on the morning of September 7, 2024, just a few days after her birthday, Laquana was tragically shot in her home, and her kids were left alone with her after she was sadly unalive. The girls were allegedly alone with their mother for multiple hours. The girls were also the ones who identified 26-year-old Davante Parks as the one who shot their mother. He literally was only recently paroled, and not even 2 months later, he is back in jail for the same exact thing, except this time, the victim hurtfully did not make it. Davante did turn himself in after authorities issued a notice that he was wanted in the case. He is currently being held at the Richmond County Jail on charges including unaliving, possession of a firearm or knife in commission of a crime, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and 2 counts of wrongdoing to children in the first degree, according to the jail records. The crime was said to have taken place around 4 a.m. that Saturday, and it was not until 10 a.m. that the girls were able to get to someone for help, and Laquana was pronounced by 11.
Hours ago, we broke the news about a suspect's criminal past, along with disturbing details about the of a local mom over the weekend.
Investigators say the suspect is 26-year-old Davante Parks.
That shooting happened just Saturday on Hines Street, taking the life of that 27-year-old Laquana Lang. But we found a similar case back in 2016 where a woman barely lived after she was shot 6 times by the same suspect, Davante Parks. Now she's questioning if her testimony could have prevented his release.
Maybe if I would have spoke up, maybe if I would have kept up with it, this wouldn't happen. He wouldn't have been out.
Brittany Mackey tells me she hasn't heard the name Davante Parks since 2018, just before he was sentenced to 25 years for shooting her. She says time stopped when she saw he had been arrested again, this time for murder. She was never notified he was out on parole.
Brittany Mackey says when she realized who was charged for the 27-year-old Laquana Lang, it's a name she was hoping she would never hear again.
It's a slap in my face because of things that I had to go through with working and jobs, which I let somebody like that go for the person that's trying to work on themselves and trying to do better.
And Mackey was even angrier when she learned it happened while he was out early on parole.
I did not know he was out. Nobody contacted me.
It's confusing because she had a victim's advocate caseworker here on the local level.
Well, I contacted the DA, and they basically told me I was supposed to keep up with it. They apologized for nobody contacting me, but pretty much it was up to me to keep up with him being released.
What she didn't have was an advocate on the state level. She says no one told her she needed one.
Not thinking that I was protected in the hands of the state and they were supposed to let me know.
But the state says the only way they can let you know is if you've enrolled in their Victims Information Program, or VIP. So here's how it works. The local DA's office can only help you until a criminal is sentenced. After that, you enroll in the VIP program. They keep you in the loop about where the prisoner is serving time, the parole status, and the release date. But Brittany says in this case, it's all too late.
These new documents say Parks and Lang lived in the same household with Lang's 2 children who were under the age of 6. They were both at home at the time of the shooting and were left there alone for hours after. The affidavit said the kids had to crawl and walk through their moms to go get help.
Can you imagine the agony those girls felt? I'm sure they were crying over their mother for the longest and completely traumatized. I can personally say I know how it is for a young person to witness something of this nature and how it affects them. One of my cousins was in a DV situation, and the kid's father decided to try to take her and the kids out. He sadly did take the life of one of my little cousins after shooting multiple other family members of mine. All of this took place in front of my very little cousins as well, who were around the same age as her kids. At my cousin's funeral, all the kids kept doing was talking about the shooting and what they saw. It was the worst thing my family had ever experienced, and to this day, I can't wrap my head around it. I mean, my cousins were literally reenacting the situation in the church and were expressing how sad they were, and again, they were around the same age. Her girls were only 2 and 5. They should never had to experience that. No one should ever feel that way, especially an innocent child. My heart truly hurts for them. Their mother was everything to them and vice versa, and she should still be here. And Laquana's life definitely mattered. Then you have poor Brittany, who had to and is still living through so much trauma. This man has ruined too many people's lives with his actions, and it is evident that he was not ready for society again. My deepest thoughts and prayers are with all those who are affected by this person, and I pray that full justice be served. In this case, do you think that the system failed, or do you think he served enough time? Let me know. And please don't forget to comment your thoughts and prayers for this family in this hard time, and hit that like button and share to make your people aware. And as always, remember to stay woke. Things change quickly.